It was a chilly evening in Vallecas. I stood outside the Lázaro family's apartment, feeling an unusual coldness in the air. Inside, the family trembled in the dim light. The death of their daughter Estefanía lingered like a thick fog. As I entered, unsettling noises enveloped the space, a mix of whispers and distant creaks coming from the walls. The air was heavy with a musty scent, the remnants of an odd dampness. It felt as if the walls held secrets. I noticed a child's toy lying in the corner, perfectly still. It didn't belong there, as if left behind by someone unseen. Every time I turned around, I felt a nagging feeling, as if someone were always just out of sight, watching. The air felt heavy in the Lázaro home, thick with lost laughter. I glanced around, the shadows flickering as the light above dimmed momentarily. I focused on the walls, peeling paint revealing layers of forgotten memories, whispers of laughter mingling with the echoes of loss still palpable. From the kitchen, the sound of water dripping interrupted the silence. It dripped steadily, each drop resonating like a heartbeat. The drip seemed to sync with my thoughts. I glanced back toward the toy, feeling as though it had shifted, just a hair out of place. A faint draft curled around me, carrying the scent of something must-yet-forgotten corner of the apartment, an omen perhaps. As I stood there, the silence deepened. I could almost hear the walls breathing, an unseen presence enveloping the room. I turned my attention back to the kitchen, noticing a glassy sheen on the floor as if something had spilled unseen, yet potent. The drip continued. I felt like it was no longer just water-reach drop, now seemed deliberate, echoing a secret held within the walls. I stepped closer to the kitchen, compelled by a mix of dread and curiosity. Shadows seemed to shift in my peripheral vision. Then I heard Ita's soft giggle, almost a whisper, echoing from the living room. My heart raced as I hesitated, disbelief creeping in. I stood frozen, staring into the darkness beyond the kitchen. The boundary between the mundane and the uncanny felt razor-thin. Rational thoughts scattered, replaced by instinct. I knew I had to move, but every fiber of my being resisted the urge to break the stillness. Each drip from the kitchen sink echoed like a heartbeat. I forced myself to step into the gloomy hallway, shadows playing tricks on my mind. As I walked, the stale air felt heavier, as if the house was holding its breath. The walls whispered secrets through their worn surface. I glanced at Estefanía's room. The door stood ajar, an unsettling invitation. Her toys lay scattered, a forgotten chaos amidst the stillness. A faint sound, barely perceptible, hummed from within. It was rhythmic and unsettling, as if something unseen was playing a sinister tune. I leaned closer to the door, sensing the chill creep up my spine. The sound stopped, replaced by the unsettling creak of the floor. Cautiously, I pushed the door wider. The room felt alive, the air charged with an unseen presence that prickled my skin. Across the room, Estefanía's favorite doll sat upright, its glass eyes glimmering strangely. I couldn't shake the feeling it was watching me. I stepped forward, the floor groaning beneath me. The doll's smile appeared more sinister, twisted in the dim light of the room. Suddenly, a breeze whipped through the room, stirring the curtains. It felt unnatural, as if the air itself was alive with whispers. I turned to the window, but it was closed. The familiar clattering of toys began again, rising and falling in a haunting cadence. I backed away, heart racing. The toy train on the floor began to move on its own, chugging along the track with a muffled sound. Stumbling back, I caught sight of Estefanía's drawing on the wall, dark scribbles forming words I didn't understand, shapes unrecognizable. My breath caught. The shadows in the drawing seemed to shift, looming closer as if inviting me into their disturbed world. I turned to leave, but the door clicked shut behind me. Panic surged as I rattled the handle, but it wouldn't budge. The air thickened, as if the house itself held me captive. I noticed the doll again, now tilted slightly, its gaze unwavering. Frantic, I started to knock on the door, but the sound echoed hollowly. The rhythmic hum returned, laced with a mocking tone. It felt like hours, trapped in that suffocating silence. I glanced to the doll once more, and it seemed closer than before. With sudden resolve, I turned to explore another exit. Then I heard Ita's soft, rhythmic breathing coming from the corner. I froze, heart pounding. The source was a small shadow, indistinct but oddly familiar. My mind raced, struggling to place it. It flickered, like a candle's flame. A soft whisper echoed through the room, familiar yet distorted, tugging at my memories. I stepped back, only to stumble over a toy. The laughter that once filled this space now echoed back at me, tauntingly void. The door rattled once more, a sound filled with malice. I thought of Estefanía, her laughter now a haunting memory, silenced. As I steadied myself, I felt tears prick my eyes. The shadows whispered secrets of loss, wrapping around me like a shroud. Finally, the door swung open. But the light revealed nothing, the shadows retreating as if mocking my hopes. I was still alone. The silence in the room felt heavier, every creak of the floorboards echoing. I hesitated as I stepped forward, eyes darting around. I glanced back at the toy train, its wheels moving slightly, as if propelled by an unseen force. It was a simple, mundane object. Suddenly, a cold draft flowed past me, carrying a faint scent of mildew, as if the walls were weeping from some hidden sorrow. I felt a prickling sensation at the back of my neck. It was quiet, yet the stillness screamed of something being wrong. A soft whisper echoed through the air, almost unintelligible, but I could sense it was directed at me, pulling me into its depths. The bathroom door creaked open slowly, revealing the mirror fogged up, but with strange markings that looked like faces. In a moment of confusion, I reached for the tap, but the water ran black for an instant before returning to its clear state. I stumbled backwards, eyes wide, as laughter erupted from nowhere, a chilling sound that seemed to wrap around me. I needed to leave, but my feet felt glued to the ground. The air thickened, compressing around me like a tightening noose. A sudden thud made me jump, and I turned to see the toy train derailed, its wheels spinning in a frantic motion. The walls seemed to pulse, and a deep moan echoed, resonating from the very heart of the apartment, shaking me to my core. And then, all at once, everything stopped. Silence returned, but it was thick and suffocating, as if the house was holding its breath. The silence lingered, as if it was anticipating something. I could feel the air grow heavier, almost palpably thick with unspoken dread. Moments passed, marked by the slow drip of a leaking faucet, each drop echoing like a whispered secret, pulling my thoughts into a spiral. I noticed the animal figurines on the shelf were arranged differently. It seemed silly, but a chill ran through me. Who moved them? Outside, the wind rustled the trees, sounding like murmured conversations. I found myself straining to listen, hoping to decipher words. Then, a child's laughter echoed through the halls, clear yet distant. I paused, heart racing. There hadn't been children around. I searched each room, my breaths shallow. Everywhere felt heavier, more oppressive, as if the walls themselves were watching.